There's gonna be a little bit of background noise just because it's so hot. I don't want to turn the fan off. I am wearing a jacket, so maybe that's my fault. You know, the weird thing is, I literally just stopped recording this video, and then I immediately realized that I said 6 the whole time. It's Shin Godzilla's 5th anniversary. It's not the 6th anniversary, it's the 5th anniversary of Shin Godzilla. I think the reason I was saying 6 through the whole video is just because in my head I was like, well, my channel's 6 years old, so 6 years. So I was saying 6 years for Shin Godzilla. The movie's 5 years old. It's his 5th anniversary, not 6. You don't have to comment about it. I know. 5. What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing something that should I start this like a YouTuber apology? Like, guys, I wasn't planning on making this video. I really wasn't expecting to have to make this. Today, July 29th, is the 6th anniversary of Shin Godzilla, the movie that came out in Japan on July 29th, 2016. It is now July 29th, 2021 in America. I just kind of wanted to revisit the original Shin Godzilla teaser trailer. I guess just to pour back through it, because it's been a while since I've seen it. So just to kind of pour back through it and just to talk about some of my experiences with the movie, because this is a movie that really changed my life forever. And I know that I say that about a couple films, because there are a few that can apply to that. Godzilla 2014 is the film that made me want to do Godzilla YouTube. I was always a Godzilla fan, but for a long time I felt like I couldn't really be a Godzilla fan because it was kind of frowned upon. That's kind of maybe a video topic of itself, is like, you know, kids are judgmental, and when you're in middle school kids are very judgmental. So like all the things that I liked, Godzilla and Ben 10, that wasn't very popular for middle school kids to like. So I got really obsessed with The Walking Dead, and so then Godzilla, which was my original passion. I was a little kid, but it was my original favorite thing ever. It kind of went away to the side. Not that I didn't like Godzilla. I was still watching Godzilla movies all the time. Whenever I was sick, I would do a mini Godzilla-thon of a couple of the Showa films. So I have a really strong connection to a lot of the early Showa films because I was sick a lot and I would watch early Showa Godzilla movies all the time. But it was just like one of those things where I wasn't as into it as I used to be. And I really felt like I couldn't be because people were kind of making fun of it. And then suddenly America was doing a new Godzilla movie, and I didn't really think they were going to. You know, there were rumors that there was going to be a 2012 Godzilla movie, and I remember hearing about, oh, there was an earthquake in Japan, and so the 2012 Godzilla movies got delayed or whatever. These are all bogus, you know, in retrospective. I don't know what these were referring to, these rumors that I was hearing on the internet, but obviously there was an earthquake in 2011 that caused massive damage. There was an earthquake, tsunami, and then a nuclear disaster. So this was all going on, and then there was also talk that America was going to make a Godzilla movie, and there were rumors about what that Godzilla movie was going to be. I remember one time in particular going to Rock Bottom, which is, it's like a brewery slash dinner place. I remember looking at pictures of the American Godzilla 2012, and they were just like concept arts or fan arts. I guess I still to this day don't really know what they are. I think they're fan arts, but I remember getting all excited like, oh, maybe there is going to be something. Then obviously the movie didn't come out in 2012, and I thought maybe it was going to come out in 2013, and then it didn't, and then I kind of let it go, and then all of a sudden one day, just all of a sudden, Legendary posts Godzilla teaser trailer, and I remember seeing the trailer and thinking that it was a fan-made trailer. I woke up early in the morning before school one day, and I was on my phone and I saw that there was this trailer, and that was for Godzilla 2014. I watched it and it just blew my mind. Suddenly it was like, Godzilla's back and it's my favorite thing ever. I was obsessed with Godzilla, and then people at school started to be interested in Godzilla, and so suddenly it wasn't something that I had to hide from. It was something that I could embrace. And so then when the 2014 Godzilla movie came out, I just fell in love with Godzilla all over again, and it really sparked my passion for Godzilla. I was watching tons of Godzilla YouTubers like Zazubar, Gorizard, Kaiju Noir, and I was really into the stuff they were doing, and I really wanted to follow in Gorizard's footsteps, which is ironic if you know the history of Gorizard's channels, plural, all 50 of them. So I really wanted to follow in his footsteps, and I just was inspired to start this channel, the one we're on. But again, it was like Godzilla had come out, the movie was out, there was a Godzilla 2 that was announced, we knew that Mothra, Rodan, Ghidorah were gonna be in it, but the movie wasn't here. Skull Island was announced, we didn't know what that movie was, we didn't know the monster monsterverse that didn't exist yet. So there wasn't a lot of Godzilla to talk about. And so I didn't talk about Godzilla a lot. I did make a lot of Godzilla videos, most of which are gone. You can't see almost any of the Godzilla videos I made within the first year of my channel. They were like stop motion videos, really poorly done stop motion, but it was a lot of stop motion videos for Godzilla, and then it was just movie clips and stuff like that. And like time lapses of the movies too was something that I was into. So then all of a sudden one day I just remember going around and there were pictures, I don't know how I stumbled across them, but there were pictures on Instagram or whatever of this leaked Godzilla suit. And it was like, whoa, a new Godzilla with a new suit. And so I sat down and I looked into it and was like, okay, this thing exists, it's real. It was this thing called Shin Godzilla, or Godzilla Resurgence, and there was this leaked suit for the movie, what we thought was a suit. There was also some cast members announced, and then there was like a picture of a foot that they released, and it was like, okay, things are starting to take shape here. Godzilla is back, there's a new Japanese Godzilla, and so it was all starting to come together. So that was my first, I'd say, real Godzilla video that I made, was my video on the suit. Again, what we thought was a suit. It turned out to be an animatronic, not a suit, it's an animatronic, but at the time we thought it was a suit. I just remember making that video and thinking nobody's gonna really care because I was doing only Walking Dead content at the time. And it was like, yeah, although the point of this channel was to talk about Godzilla, there is no Godzilla to talk about, so I'm only talking about Walking Dead, and now I have to talk about Godzilla, nobody's gonna care. And then all of a sudden the video got like hundreds of views, and then it got 1,000 views, and it was like, okay, wait a minute, people do want to hear about Godzilla. Well, you skip to the Shin Godzilla trailer, it drops. This happened on April 13th, 2016, just suddenly Toho dropped the trailer. I didn't know they were gonna do that, and I remember seeing people blowing it up, like, oh my god, there's a new Godzilla trailer, and it's amazing. And my reaction was that it's gotta be a very, very impressive fan-made trailer. I didn't think it was gonna be real for some reason. I thought that there was still the possibility it was gonna be fake, but I was willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. So I remember going and finding all the Shin Godzilla trailers that I could, including the teaser, which is just the people running down the street. So I found all of those, and then I sat down and recorded what was the defining video in my career. The original Shin Godzilla trailer reaction that I recorded is no longer posted. It got taken down due to copyright. It was one of the first videos that I posted, and it really blew up, much more than the design talk that I did, much more than the talk about the animatronic. That video really took off and got a couple thousand views, and it was like, I guess that's what I'm doing from now on. I guess I'm talking about Shin Godzilla. So that's when I say that Shin Godzilla changed my life. It's because, yeah, in a way, that 2014 movie, that was the start of the channel. That was what sent me down this course. But Shin Godzilla was what focused my path and made me really go full on Godzilla only. And that was the movie that I think defined the rest of everything to come on the channel. That's one where I started doing news and updates and all the stuff that I've become known for, trailer breakdowns and everything else. It all started with Shin Godzilla. On April 13th, I was supposed to be prepping a speech for school. I had a class speech the next day on the 14th, and it was like not the actual speech, it was just a practice version of the speech. There were going to be panelists who came in and watched the actual speech. We were going to be doing questions on it. It was like speeches about government, and I was talking about historical forms of government in America or something. And so it was a big deal, right? It's like, this is the big speech of the year. This is the whole point of the class, leads to this one thing. And I was supposed to be prepping my speech that night so that I could practice it the next day in class. I made a trailer reaction instead. So I did not quite fulfill the requirements. I was just so excited about this Godzilla trailer, and I remember going into class and we were supposed to present our speeches, and I gave a very, very rough version of my speech, just basically bullet points, because I didn't prep the speech because I was too busy watching the Godzilla trailer. And I was so nonchalant about it too, to the point where I was just playing the trailer to my friends in class, because at that point it was like, oh, turns out this is what I care about. I care about Godzilla. Don't follow in my footsteps, kids. Do your homework. And I remember my government teacher being really mad about it and saying something like, well, you wasted all your time doing Godzilla. Godzilla is not going to be economically viable for you. It's not going to be financially viable for you. Godzilla is not your future. Well, that trailer reaction did very well, and it basically, in a way, kind of kick-started a lot of the channel, and it made me focus up on Shin Godzilla and start down the path of what I started down. And it was just such a nice feeling to be able to prove her wrong, to like a year later finally tell her just how wrong she was and how far far my channel had come. And also, I will say that I actually killed that class presentation. I killed that speech. I did a very, very good job on it. I won like an award on the speech. So I did a very good job on it because I'm good when I put my time into it. That's a really, really long lead up to going through this trailer. I just kind of wanted to just talk about the impact Shin Godzilla, and I guess Godzilla in general, had on my life at that age. So it all led up to the Shin Godzilla trailer, and so I'm very nostalgic for this trailer. I've got a lot of really good memories of this trailer. This came out, I was a freshman in high school. This came out my freshman year, this trailer, and there was a field trip coming up for my German class where we're going to a German restaurant, and I just remember being so obsessed over this trailer that on the day we were going on this field trip, I sat there in the hallway waiting for us to all leave, and I just had my headphones in and I was watching my phone, just watching this trailer on repeat, and every time it would stop, I'd go back to the start and restart it and watch it all over again. And I was just so in love with this trailer, and specifically the music. I was obsessed with the music in this trailer. Even when I was doing whatever else, walking around on the bus going to the place or whatever, just walking around school going from class to class, I would just have the trailer playing, looping in my pocket so that I could listen to this music. I just thought it was so cool. Of course, later we learned this song is Persecution of the Masses, and this is only a fragment of it, but man, I was just so obsessed with this. And there is still something that hits different for me. I don't know if this is for anybody else, but for me, there's something that hits different about the trailer version of Persecution of the Masses. It's not the Godzilla roar at the start. That's cool. It's cool that Godzilla roars at the start. That wasn't the thing. It's the ending. Something about the ending kind of has a different feel to it in this trailer than it does in the actual song, for me anyways. And it's just the way that it hits, it just is a little different. Also, you know that I was obsessed with this song in this trailer because when this trailer dropped, it's a minute long. My original intro that I would run on all my videos was a minute long. It was just a minute montage of Kong, Godzilla, Gamera, whatever, and it was playing to this song. Obviously, I can't use those even if I wanted to for nostalgia's purpose. Not that anybody would want to sit through a minute-long intro. Even just for nostalgia purpose, I can't really pull that off because obviously the song's copyright claimed. So I just had a lot of really, really fond memories of this trailer. It really is like the defining trailer for me. I don't think there's been a single other trailer that has had such an impact on me. I loved it. I really, really loved it. So going through the trailer again, I was always a big fan of the way that it starts with the Toho Scope logo. It's just super classic and it's just nice nostalgia for the Godzilla fans. And it sets up the movie being Showa era nostalgia. It's actually very clever that they put this here. It's also fun because this shows up in the movie. You know, there's the double logo where you got the current Toho logo followed with Toho Scope, just so that they can kind of tie this back together and say, hey, we're doing the Showa era but modernized. That's really what this movie feels like for me, is this movie feels like, in a sense, Godzilla 54 through 64 modernized. It is what this movie feels like. It's got some of the silliness of those early 60s movies, but it's very serious like the 54 film and like those movies, and it just feels like if you were to take that mood and update it, this is what you'd get. It's also helpful because in the movie they actually use music cues and sound effects from those 60s movies. There's a lot of tie-in to the very early Showa era, ironically actually pretty much before Toho Scope was established. I believe Toho Scope came on the scene for Godzilla anyways in 1962's King Kong vs. Godzilla, so I guess it was there for two of the films that I'm referring to, but it is kind of funny. So yes, this is tying into the early Showa era, and I think this is a good way to establish that right off the start. In many ways, I think that the other films we've gotten have also kind of followed up on this idea. In a lot of ways, I think Godzilla King of the Monsters feels like if you were to take the 60s and 70s of Showa Godzilla, modernize that with a big Hollywood budget, this is what you'd get. It's got the silliness, but it's also got all the monsters and similar plot lines and themes, and it feels a lot like those early movies to me. Same with Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla vs. Kong feels like if you were just to take the 60s and wrap it up in a nice package and then give it the Hollywood treatment with CGI, this is what you'd get. It's a movie that I could see Shinichi Sekizawa writing in some form. It is kind of interesting the way that all these current Godzilla movies have been getting all these Showa era nostalgia packed in, and in a way it feels like all of these films owe a lot to the Showa era. But anyways, let's continue with the trailer. So you start out with Godzilla roaring, and it's such a great scene. We all know the scene, and that's the thing, is it's kind of difficult for me to separate the trailer from the movie now because I'm so familiar with this movie that regardless of the shot that's on screen, I could tell you where that is, what the context is. Shin Godzilla is a movie I watch every 3-ish months on average. I just watch the movie a ton. This month alone, I've seen it twice. It's just a movie I revisit a lot, especially when it very first came out and I very first got it on digital. I edited with the movie so much and I was using the movie so often that I was able to tell exactly where in the movie I was just by looking at the audio waveform. So I didn't actually even need to see the visuals and I could tell you what was happening. So it is cool that we start out with this Godzilla roaring scene. Obviously, we didn't know what this was going to lead to. Arguably the most iconic Godzilla moment since the 54 movie. It's also funny because I remember there was a lot of debate about this scene where, you know, there's a lot of controversies about the Godzilla design. One that's really grown on me over time. I'm a big fan of the Shin design, especially the red sprinkled throughout the design. I think it's wonderful. But I remember there was controversies about the tongue. There's no tongue in Godzilla and people were kind of controversial about that. The teeth especially, and then this membrane between the jaw. That was also something that people talked about, especially the eye as well, how small it was. I just remember a lot of the debate surrounding this design and how controversial it was when it originally came out. There was also some debate as to whether this was CGI or not, and in my original trailer reaction you can actually hear me complain about the CG. I really don't know what I was complaining about. I think it's really wonderful. Maybe it's just that the trailer I was watching back then was low res, so it looked a little worse. The CG in that scene looks incredible in the film, but it is funny that I originally identified it as CGI. And then I was very impressionable back when I started the channel and I didn't want to upset anybody, and so I always tried to give people what they wanted, even if it meant kind of being dishonest with myself. So when people were complaining and telling me that I was an idiot because we had seen the leaked animatronic, then I kind of backed down in videos and was like, well, I guess the reason it doesn't look great is because it's an animatronic and not CGI. You guys are right. It's practical. It's all practical. It isn't practical. This is very much the CG Godzilla, and they just designed him to look and move like an animatronic. Again, with the roar is another Showa era tie-in, and the roar is another thing that I remember there was a bit of debate as to whether it was a placeholder roar originally. I just said it was going to be Godzilla's roar, but people argued that it would be a placeholder roar, and again, not that I had ever heard of a movie using a placeholder roar, but I just kind of backed down because I assumed everybody else was right and I was wrong. I'm happy to say on both of those things, I was right originally. It was not a placeholder roar, and it was CGI. The shot of Godzilla's tail sweeping over these buildings has long since been one of my favorite moments. Ever since I saw this trailer, it's been one of my favorite things in Godzilla. Whenever I would have Godzilla toys after seeing this trailer, I'd kind of angle them looking up so that I could sweep the tail over my eye. I think that's an incredible shot. It's very genius, and I'm very happy to see it in the movie. I don't know whose idea that was, Anno or Higuchi, but I'm very happy to see this kind of shot in the movie. It's great, a lot of great perspective here and scale, and it's really wonderful. It makes Godzilla seem enormous, so it's really cool. That's also a really smooth cut between the tail and then Godzilla walking past the bridge here. These are obviously two very different moments in the movie. It just cuts really nicely in the trailer. And then this shot of Godzilla walking in the background while the people are running in the foreground, it's great. I mean, the perspective's a little wonky. That was another thing that we debated, is how big is Godzilla if these towers are these high tension lines or whatever those are. The little train lines, actually. They're like just electric lines or phone lines. Considering how tall they appear here, we were debating how big Godzilla is. I think it's just because Godzilla's so far in the background of this shot that he seems a little like more Showa sized. But I mean, these were the fun things to speculate about back when the trailer dropped. How big is Godzilla? Look at these towers. They're going up to about his waist, so he can't be bigger than the original. And then obviously he's the biggest Godzilla to that point. I think this is a wonderful shot, and I really love the way the tail moves here. This is actually one of my favorite visuals of Godzilla in the whole movie. Same for the shot of Godzilla's head moving down here with the tail whipping in the background. This is again just another smooth edit for the trailer. I was very shocked to see the movie that these two shots don't follow each other. Godzilla's face here looks really cool. It looks mean and scary, and I really like the way his face is kind of scrunched into itself. I also like the head shape here being a little more traditional Godzilla rather than alligator-like or dinosaur-like, which is what we've been tending to see with the long snout. So I like this design for Godzilla as well. And then of course you got the tail in the background, which in and of itself has a very interesting, fun, cool design. But remember all the debate about the face and the tail and everything like that, so that's just another funny moment for me to kind of laugh at. It's just a very smoothly edited trailer overall. There's a lot of really great cutting here, and then the way it all swells up with the music with this really cool intro bit of Godzilla, followed with a pretty extended period of human stuff before ending with Godzilla again. It's a way to keep the trailer engaging while also showing you it's not just going to be Godzilla destroying stuff for the whole film, because obviously Godzilla doesn't do that for most of the movie. He only does it in a couple scenes, so it's kind of fun that we get that as well. But again, this whole middle montage is really well edited. You can't really tell where in the movie these scenes are happening. When I tried to piece it all together from my all scenes in order, it was really difficult to tell what the human story for this film was going to be. It was like, is Godzilla going to land at the start and this is all people reacting onto it before you know that he's evolving. It's hard to tell what his path is going to be in the film. And so it is kind of fun to look back on it, knowing where all these scenes take place, knowing the way they've pieced these together, where they've taken completely different elements from the movie and mixed them into seemingly one big montage of people reacting to Godzilla, even though they're reacting to very different incidents. It's pretty cool. It's also interesting the way this trailer uses no dialogue. There's nobody talking. They don't give you any hints as to what the story is going to be. It's just people reacting. I mean, you can see that their lips are moving, but you can't tell what they're saying. Not only is this really smart because it makes the trailer international, now you don't need to understand the language to be able to appreciate the trailer, but it's really cool because it keeps the movie a mystery, which is what the movie is. The movie is unraveling the mystery of Godzilla. What is Godzilla? So it's another really cool thing like that. And I also really like the music here being paired with these visuals, makes them seem very, very serious and gives us an idea of what the tone of the film is going to be. The progression throughout this trailer is also good because you go from government reacting to all of a sudden the civilians in panic. You see the city that's at stake. So it's another really cool way to progress the threat of the trailer and build up the suspense until Godzilla comes back on screen. And it eventually leads up to the military gearing up for Godzilla to return as well. When you're doing a trailer, a lot of the time it's really smart to tell a story in the trailer you're putting together. And obviously the story of this trailer is Godzilla makes landfall, people react to it, people are in danger, the military has to prepare, and now Godzilla's back. It's a different story than the story of the movie, but it's a really good story for the trailer, and it's why this trailer works really well, because the trailer does progress. It feels like you're building up to something. So even on a subconscious level, just watching this trailer, I think it's just brilliantly edited. This trailer, again, it's got to be one of my favorite trailers in cinema history. I think it's very, very well put together. It's also fun going back and comparing some of these shots because you've got early shots without CG or without characters added in, and then you get to see them in the film and they look different than they did in the trailer. We build up to probably my favorite moment in trailer history here, and it starts out with this amazing shot looking down the barrel of a tank. The way that the bullets and the blasts are all synchronized with the music, it's incredible. This whole section is really, really well done, and it's not punchy like an American blockbuster movie. You know, in many American blockbuster trailers, it's become a bit of a gimmick to have the trailer line up with the thing on screen. The music is so punchy, and everything happening on screen beats perfectly with the trailer. I'm actually a fan of that trend, but I know it's something that's criticized because it's become so generic. This is a case where they edited the film to line up with the music for the trailer, but it's not punchy and in your face. It's much more subtle in a way, and it's really, really great. It's very, very well done. And these are just some of my favorite shots in Godzilla history right here. You've got this really great shot of a tank swiveling while firing at Godzilla, followed up with this great shot of a helicopter moving while Godzilla's in the midground and his tail's whipping around and there's bullets coming at him, and there's just so much going on here. It's super, super well composed. The whole movie is beautiful, but you really get a sense of just how beautiful it's going to be from this trailer alone. And then you have what was the standout moment for me when I originally saw this trailer, this pan up on Godzilla, where they're unleashing on his legs and you slowly pan up to see his face and he just looks incredibly fierce and menacing. It's super great. And then obviously the trailer continues to progress its story. Now it's becoming nighttime, so it gets darker for the rest of the trailer, and we're seeing Godzilla become part of the city a little more, and he's going into bigger territory and it's becoming more dangerous. And then of course you've got the incredible title card here. I love the way that the music swells into it, and I just love the logo. I love that they used the 54 font for Shin Godzilla, and it's got a similar coloring, and it just looks like the original logo, but now it's got Shin in front. I think it's really cool. And then ending with the tease that maybe they lose. You know, it's kind of got a bit of a pessimistic ending here with Rando in distress. But again, it's another wonderful shot, and I think it really, really works with the music. Also, I really like the way that the red contrasts with the kind of blackish tones of the background here for the date. Just another really, really great touch that they did for this trailer. I don't know, guys. I just kind of wanted to sit down and just talk. I haven't really sat down and just recorded a video about whatever in a long, long time. And I just kind of wanted to today. I just kind of wanted to sit down. I didn't have a plan for this video. I just knew that all I wanted to do was re-look at the Shin Godzilla trailer and just explore why I think the trailer worked so well, why it's been such an influential trailer on me, and then to talk a little bit about the impact that Shin Godzilla had on me. Of course, again, this is the anniversary of Shin Godzilla, at least when I'm recording this. Who knows when I'll post this, but on the day I'm recording this, it's the anniversary of Shin Godzilla, and so it's just a way for me to celebrate what that movie did for me, and it really, really did change everything for me. It changed my whole course of life. Just wanted to sit down and talk with you guys about how cool the Shin Godzilla trailer was. I want to give a huge thank you to all my patrons on Patreon. You guys are absolutely awesome. If you want to support the Patreon, it goes a really long way towards supporting the channel. It makes these videos possible. It makes all my videos possible. Please consider supporting. You can go check out the Patreon using the link in the description below, or that eye icon wherever it is. It's on one of these sides. It's over here, I think. Go check out the Patreon and you can get access to content content early, the Discord community, and many other things. So go check it out. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man, out.